welcome back to my channel. It is time for another one of my Pearson comprehensive guides. If you are new to my channel and don't know what I mean by this, every single month I put out a new Pearson comprehensive guide about a very specific Pearson, kind of an overall broad understanding of that Pearson and like what goes into it. So if you're interested about said Pearson, hopefully that guide is for you. And each month these guides are voted on by my patrons. So if you would like to vote on next month's Pearson comprehensive guide, that's just one of the perks you get over on my Patreon. If you're interested in checking that out, the link is in the description below. But this month, my patrons voted on the Ashley Pearson. So this guide is gonna revolve around that. And if you don't know what the Ashley Pearson is, well, you're in the right spot because I'll show you a picture of what it looks like once we get into the guide. So these guides are broken down into 5 categories. What is the Pearson, the procedure and pain of the Pearson, the healing and aftercare of the Pearson, the jewelry sizing for it, as well as your jewelry options, which those last 2 are everyone's favorite part. But you can't get there until you know a little bit more about it. So let's start off with, what is an Ashley Pearson? So this Pearson goes through the very center of your bottom lip. So it enters through the front and exits through the inside of your lip. There is only one visible point for this Pearson because the other point is inside your mouth. This is a very anatomy dependent Pearson, so you may or may not have the anatomy for it. It is also called the inverse or inverted vertical labret, and there's actually no known origin for where the name Ashley came from. You know how sometimes Pearsons have their names and it kind of relates back to what the Pearson looks like or just like the anatomy or something like that. There is really no known reason why it's referred to as the Ashley Pearson. So now that you know exactly which Pearson I will be talking about in this guide, let's move on to the procedure and pain of getting this one done. So because this one goes through your whole bottom lip, like it is the dead center, is going through a thick piece of meat, it may be a little bit more sensitive to get done. On a scale of 1 to 10, many say that it kind of falls in the middle around a 5. So it's not like the least painful thing ever, but it's also not the worst. It's right in the center. Because of the placement for this Pearson, it's very, very important that it is straight and centered. Otherwise, it might be a little off and it could potentially damage the inner part of your mouth, such as your teeth or your gums. Like I mentioned before, anatomy does play a role in whether or not you're able to get this Pearson. And again, we're trying to avoid possible damage to your teeth or gums. We don't want your gums to recede. You don't want tooth damage. So that's why anatomy plays a big role, because depending on where your piercer can actually get the Pearson, it could potentially touch one or both of those. There's also the need to look for any veins in your lip to make sure to avoid those. Now, I've said this before, when getting this Pearson done, your piercer may or may not use a clamp. It's really up to their personal preference. If they're more comfortable with a clamp, they'll use it. If they're less comfortable with it, just because they feel like it gets in the way, they won't use it. So don't think, oh, my piercer didn't use a clamp, was that the wrong thing? It's usually just a personal preference. The process to get this Pearson done is pretty much the same with all the other ones. Piercer cleans it, piercer marks it, allows you to look at it. This one doesn't offer too much wiggle room on where to shift it to, because again, anatomy dependent. Because of how this Pearson is, it needs to be right in the center of your lip. Not a whole lot of movement that's gonna go on with placement. The piercer will still give you the option to look at it and be like, yeah, I'm good with that. And because this is technically an oral Pearson, you will have to rinse your mouth out so that it kind of gets rid of any bacteria that may be sitting on the inner part of your lip. So this antiseptic rinse will just kind of clean anything out that may be in there. Then the piercer may either have you lay down or sit up. Again, that's a preference. And the Pearson may go from the outside in or the inside out. Again, personal preference. I myself do not have this Pearson, so I can't speak on my own experience, because I don't have one. But I watched a few videos online of this Pearson being done, and I saw both ways happen. Whether it goes outside in, inside out, or whether the person was laying down or sitting up. So again, kind of like with the clamp, don't worry if your piercer does one thing and then you hear someone did it the other way. Don't worry, it's a preference thing. So now on to the part that everyone absolutely enjoys. Healing and aftercare. It's never fun. So roughly this Pearson takes about 3 to 4 months to heal. Because it's not cartilage, it's not gonna take nearly as long as other Pearsons might. However, that's not to say that it couldn't take longer. 3 to 4 months is pretty standard for a lip Pearson just because it's more fleshy, there's more blood flow to it. But again, just because I say roughly 3 to 4 months doesn't mean that it can't take longer. And that will depend on a number of factors that could hinder the healing process. So standard aftercare for piercings, you can use a sea salt solution, either one that you make yourself or a pre-made one. I highly recommend NEILMED's pre-made one, especially for lip piercings because the nozzle is angled, so you can just like aim it on the inside of your lip, spray it, just kind of let it sit there and then spit it back out. It's great. It's what I used on my philtrum piercing and on my labret when I had it. Or you can make your own. Just please, 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 when you make your own, do it correctly. I feel like a lot of people make their own and don't make it correctly, and that's why there's so many issues that come up. So if you're gonna make your own, the appropriate measurements are 8 ounces of distilled or bottled water. Do not use tap water. There are things in tap water that could hinder the healing process, so make sure you're using only distilled or bottled water. And you're gonna mix in either a 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon of non-iodized sea salt. Do not go over 1/4 of a teaspoon. Adding more salt is not gonna make it heal faster. In fact, it could prolong the healing process because it'll irritate it. When you're cleaning, whether with a pre-made or your own solution, make sure that you are not over cleaning it. Twice a day is usually fine. If you notice crusties of any kind, 3 times a day is okay. Don't do any less than 2. Whenever I clean new piercings, I always do once in the morning, once in the evening, and if I notice crusties throughout the day, I'll do a little touch up. Also, make sure you are not using things like Bactine, Neosporin, or alcohol products. First of all, Bactine tells you on their website, do not use us on a piercing. If the company is telling you not to use their product on something, it's probably in your best interest to not use said product. Also, don't use alcohol products because alcohol products are very drying, which is not good for a brand new piercing. And Neosporin prevents oxygen from reaching the piercing site, which you don't want because it is technically an open wound and you do need kind of oxygen flow into it. Neosporin also clogs the puncture wound and doesn't allow it to drain. So you know those crusties that you get and they're kind of annoying? They're actually pretty necessary. If you put Neosporin on it, it clogs it up, it doesn't allow it to drain properly, and it can lead to bigger issues. Also, all of these things are just way too harsh for a brand new piercing or just a piercing in general. I feel like this next part goes without saying, but don't mess with the jewelry. And I know it's probably gonna be difficult because you're not used to jewelry being there and you're gonna wanna like and just like play with it with your teeth and stuff like that. Don't mess with it. That was one reason why I got rid of my labret piercing, is because I'd sit there and play with it with my teeth and it's just not good. Don't mess with it. Again, make sure to clear away any crusties that you may notice, even with something like a Q-tip. But if you are going to use a Q-tip, a lot of people don't like the use of Q-tips because the little fibers on the end can get wrapped around the jewelry, which can cause irritation. So if you're going to clean with a Q-tip, make sure you're looking for any stray fibers that may have gotten caught on the jewelry. Also, something different compared to other piercings. Remember, this is an oral piercing, so you will need to rinse your mouth out after you eat or drink something so that nothing gets caught in the jewelry, like between your lip and the jewelry. So always rinse your mouth out after eating or drinking something. This can be done with either plain water. Again, don't do tap water. Do bottled or distilled. Or it can be done with your saline solution. Again, why I really recommend NEILMED, because of the pointed nozzle. So if you've eaten something, after you're done eating, you can just direct it right at your lip, let it kind of sit in there, break up anything that may be between your lip and the jewelry, and then spit it out. If you notice swelling, something that I definitely recommend is an ice pack to the lip. So when I had my philtrum done, I definitely had a little bit of swelling. An ice pack, just holding it there, really helps. And since it is an oral piercing, practice good hygiene. Don't forget to brush your teeth, floss. Get any food particles out that may be lingering. All right, now moving on to the part that does excite everyone, jewelry. So we're gonna start with jewelry sizing. First of all, you can change your jewelry out after about 6 weeks once that initial swelling has gone down. So the typical size jewelry for this piercing is a 16 gauge at 5/16 of an inch in length. However, when you first get it done, it's probably gonna be longer at about 3/8 of an inch in length, and that is gonna be very long and it's gonna be annoying. But again, after about 6 weeks, once that initial swelling has gone down, you can change it out for something shorter, as you should. You should not leave it a long post because then it'll get caught on your teeth, it'll rub more, it'll just get caught on more things. It's better to shorten it as soon as you can. And then rolling right into your jewelry options. There's not really many options you get with this piercing. I'm sure you could experiment, but the standard for this piercing is a labret flatback stud. It's what I have in my philtrum. Again, I'm relating a lot of this piercing to what I've experienced with my philtrum or with my retired labret piercing. The flatback studs are really great because it kind of cuts down on anything that could touch your teeth or your gums. Also cuts down on getting caught on anything, easier to just maintain and deal with. Now, I'm sure people have put hoops or horseshoes or something into this Pearson. As someone who doesn't have this Pearson, I would not recommend that. However, that's not saying you couldn't do it, but the most common jewelry you're gonna find are those flat back studs. You can also put retainers in them. Retainers come in a variety of shapes and sizes and jewelry styles. So those are your big two options, are retainers and flat back studs. But again, not stopping you from trying out a hoop. Just realize that a hoop probably will touch your teeth a little bit more. Also, not entirely sure how you're gonna close your mouth. Maybe you could do like a horseshoe and like turn it down, but I feel like with a hoop, your lip, it'll get caught on your lip. Maybe hoop for that one's just not it. So that is my Pearson comprehensive guide for the Ashley Pearson. Are you thinking about getting this Pearson yourself, or do you have it? If you have it, leave your experience with it in the comments below. We're all very interested. I mean, I know I am personally. It is a very cute Pearson. I personally don't think I would get this one, just because I don't want anything to go directly through my lip. I'm fine with like going around it, but that's why I didn't get a vertical labret Pearson, because I just didn't want anything to go through the lip. I'm okay with it going around the lip, but not through it. But if you have this one, leave comments below about your experience with it, what it was like to get it done, how it's been healing. If you're thinking about getting it, what's stopping you from getting it? Or you just haven't gotten around to it yet? Leave all that in the comments below, because I would love to hear about it, and I'm sure other people would enjoy hearing about other people's experiences. Special thank you to my patrons. You can help support the channel on Patreon while having access to videos early, viewing patron-only content, and more. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to go down there and hit that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so YouTube will let you know when I upload next. But until next time, bye all!